Today. So here we are, Dan. Dan and I, fifth draft together, and the process just becomes more and more refined. And I can't speak enough about that. The interaction with the coaching staff, just make that public. Also want to have an opportunity to laud our personnel staff, Scott Pioli, Steve Sabo, our college director, who does a heck of a job. It's one of the most difficult jobs in the country, I think, as a college scouting director. There's a lot going on there. He and his scouts, the college scouting staff, have been going like crazy for probably 15 months now in this draft. So there's a lot of involvement, and I think they're ready to turn on to the next draft. I think they already have, quite honestly. So 14 pick 14 this year, a lot of opportunities, 9 picks, and we'll throw it out to questions. Actually,
okay. Yeah, I thought for me, I absolutely love this time of year. All the work and prep you get to add players to the team. And it's always such an interesting process because you watch them on tape, and then there's some combine meetings, some school visits, some guys who take visits back to here, and at the end you get to see who would potentially be the best fit for your team. You always like a hell of a lot of players, and you want to add a whole bunch. So that's part of the fun part of the puzzle, going together from free agency and then into the draft process, and that puzzle really takes all the way in through the season as we're getting going. But as Thomas said earlier, 5 years in, it is really good because the process gets refined and gets better. I know where some of the blind spots for myself are after a few years. I know this is the week when the crazy stories come out, and so I always remember to keep the main thing, and that's the guy who can play, not that Tabik had a 3-cone of 7.24 and Led had one at 7.23, so Led is clearly the better prospect. But I do appreciate that because at the end is what can this player do for the team, and I think that's where this building really shines during this time of year is the scouts. And one of the things I appreciate about Thomas and the guys is not only do they look at who would be the talent for the team, but they also consider who would be the best fit for the team and the locker room and all the things that go into that. And so I'm real proud of the fact that the coaches and the scouts have that connection and go through players together. So they're always looking for the best fit, and I know that's not everywhere, and I really appreciate that because I know that's not the case everywhere, but it for sure is here. So I'm sure you guys got a lot of questions about the puzzle, so now we can let it rip and we'll get rocking.
Yeah, I was talking to Gil and Mark Dominic today. They were saying how this draft for them was really stocked in the trenches. You all signed 5 and 4 offensive, defensive linemen in free agency. Do y'all see the draft as also being stacked in those positions?
Yeah, I mean this is a unique year. I think defensive line is heavy, and as well as offensive line, and I think there are other positions, of course, that are thriving this year that haven't in the past per numbers. So it's great to see that.
Yeah, and I think for a while some people have been disappointed from some of the offensive line, and so it's good to see that position climb back up and really establish itself for some guys that are going to be ready to contribute to teams right off the bat. So the big guys in this year's class, it's a really cool group of guys. We've gotten to meet a lot of them, to see some, and in fact even had some here. So it's been fun.
And you said yourself, the thing about keeping the meeting,
yeah.
You yourself falling prey to stuff that in the big picture doesn't really matter?
Yeah, I think I did earlier, Jeff, where you get so concerned about everything, and so I guess an example would be like the average of a mock draft percentage. Like this guy's at 13% of the people would think he would go here, and if I could tell you some of the mock drafts that I've seen take place without any film or evaluation to go on, you'd be pretty surprised. So I always, it's a good reminder after some experience, I'd say, that a friend of ours had said, keep making the cake, keep the main thing, and that always comes back to the players and all the evaluations that the scouts put on to the guys, and in a lot of cases have looked at players through their junior year or senior year, or for the guys coming out early, their sophomore year and their junior year. So they've been through multiple years on a player and see the growth and the development. So yeah, it's a good reminder to always go back to that.